All right, everyone. Today we are going to be conducting a vulnerability scan uh, using OpenVAS. And what are we going to need for this um, tutorial? You're going to need a computer with access to the internet, and you're going to need an Azure account. With for those who don't have an Azure account, you can click on Start Free here to qualify for a free subscription. So the free subscription gives you $200 worth of credit, and you have to be qualified to get the $200 worth of credit, or you can click on Pay As You Go. So for this entire tutorial, I do not think you will be charged more than $5 for this entire tutorial. So this is the one I use. So you can click on Start Free and follow the steps to set up an Azure account, and when you're done, you can go to this link. You can click on this link here. This checklist is going to be in the description, so you can click on the checklist, portal.azure.com, and it's going to take you to this page here. So yours is not going to look like this. So I have a lot of resources here and a bunch of stuff here. So yours will be looking really clean. And so what we will be doing here, so I'm just going to go back to our checklist. So we are going to prepare vulnerability management scanner, and to do that, we are going to go over to our Azure account and search for marketplace to create. So we want to create an OpenVAS virtual machine. So we'll go over to marketplace, and we will search for OpenVAS. So I am just going to search for OpenVAS. Okay, so this is the one we want, OpenVAS secured and supported by hosted. So I'm going to click on that one, and I am going to select this. So if you go over to the checklist, you will see that it says start with a preset configuration, pick the weakest one. So what we'll do is, here's the start with a preset configuration. So we're just going to select this, and we're going to select the dev test. So boot diagnostics, high availability, Azure backup where available. So I'm just going to select this one and come down here and click on continue to create a VM. So I'm going to click here. Okay. So we are going to name VM OpenVAS. So I'm just going to copy this. Okay, so first we are going to create a resource group, which we are going to call vulnerability management. So I'm going to click on create new and just put the name there and click on OK. And our virtual machine is going to be called OpenVAS. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Okay, so we are going to be using US East, US 2 as our region. So this is the region where our virtual machine, that's the OpenVAS virtual machine, is located. So we're going to leave this, and what I like to do is I'm going to click on all sizes, and I'm going to go to the E series. I'm going to go to the E series, and you want to select the one that has at least 2 virtual CPUs. So I'm going to select one here and click on select. But the reason you want to do that is to ensure that your virtual machines are not running slowly. So so what we're going to do next is we are going to authenticate our virtual machine by assigning it a username and a password. going to go over here and scroll down where it says authentication type. Just select password, and our username is going to be Azure account. So I'm just going to copy the username Azure user and just paste it here, and our password would be marshmallow 234 hashtag and the @ symbol. So I am going to paste and paste. So we are going to click on next. So you're going to click on next again, and okay, so everything looks okay here. I'm going to click on next. I'm going to click on next, and make sure for boot diagnostics you are disabling it, so we don't need it. Right now I'm just going to click on review and create. Okay, it says running final validation, so we're just going to wait for it. And one more thing to add to this, I just want to say that if you're using the free trial subscription, if you get to this stage, you may not be able to create a virtual machine. So you should just go to your subscription and select pay as you go. You're not going to be charged. Okay, select pay as you go to be able to create this virtual machine. So I just wanted to add that here. So I'm going to click on create. So we can see validation passed, so everything looks okay. So we're going to click on create. So it says initializing deployment, so we're just going to wait for it. We see deployment is in progress. All right, great. You can see our deployment is complete. So you can click on go to resource here, or you can come over here and search for virtual machine VM and just click on virtual machines. Coming down here, we can see we have a virtual machine. Please disregard the attack VM, the Linux VM, and the Windows VM. So these virtual machines are used for other purposes. So this is the one we should be focused on, the OpenVAS one. So you can see we have a virtual machine running. You can see the operating system is Linux. You can see the size, and you can see a public IP address. So I'm just going to click on OpenVAS. So going back to our checklist, we have created our virtual machine, and right now it says after the VM has been created, SSH into it with PowerShell. So SSH simply means secure shell. So it's a method of accessing your virtual machine remotely over the internet. So what we are going to do, we are going to SSH into it. So if you're using a Windows PC, you're going to have to open PowerShell. If you're using a Mac OS, you're going to have to open terminal. So right now we're going to go over to our Azure account and copy our public IP address. So what I'm going to do now is go over to, okay, you can just search for remote, you can search for PowerShell, which I'm going to do now, PowerShell. So I like running as administrator, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on yes. Okay, so I'm just going to SSH into it, and I remember our username is Azure user, and I'm going to paste the IP address and click on enter. So I am going to select yes. I'm going to type in yes and provide the password. So our password was or is marshmallow 234 and hashtag and the @ symbol. So I'm gonna type it. So do not fret because you're not going to see your password as you're typing it out, but just do it anyway. So I just did that. Okay, so this is going to take some time. So we're going to go back to our checklist. You don't have to do anything until it says you will notice your OpenVAS is deploying. Please wait until it says hosted stage done. So we're just going to wait until we get that response, so you can see that it's installing. All right, so we can see that OpenVAS, it's giving us our username. So my username is admin and this is my password. So we are going to be changing this password because it looks really ugly. And then I have a URL. So this is my URL. Your OpenVAS is available under. So this is it. I'm just going to copy this URL. So you can Command C or Control C. So I am going to go over here and just paste this. And what I'll do is copy my password. I am going to change this password because it's not something I think I'll be able to remember. I'm going to change it and put in my username, admin, and I'm going to paste that password I copied. So I'm going to click on sign in. All right, so I have been logged into the Greenbone Security Assistant platform. So what I would do first is go over here and click on my settings to change my password. And I am going to click here, edit my settings, and provide the old password. I'm just going to paste. And for the new password, I'm going to go over here and just copy our password, marshmallow234 hashtag and @ I'm going to paste it and paste it. So that's all we'll be doing here. So we'll just come down here and click on save. Okay, so I have updated my password. So next we'll have to create a client virtual machine and make it vulnerable. So we are going to go over to the portal.azure.com and click on virtual machines, just in case you left that page. Click on virtual machines and we are going to click on create and click Azure virtual machine. So it should open up a page where we'll be able to create a virtual machine, the client virtual machine. Okay, so for this one, we are going to put it in the same resource group, which is vulnerability management. So you're going to click here and make sure you select vulnerability management, just in case you have other resource groups. And we are going to name our virtual machine Windows 10 vulnerable. So I'm going to copy this name and just paste it here. So make sure your client virtual machine is in the same region as the OpenVAS virtual machine, and you want to come down here and change the image to Windows 10 Pro. So I'm going to change the image to Windows 10 Pro, and we're going to come over here, and our username still is going to be Azure user. So I'm going to copy the username and paste the username here. And for the password, I'm going to copy the password, marshmallow234 hashtag and @ So I am going to paste and paste. Okay, so make sure you confirm, you check the box. I confirm I have an eligible Windows 10 or 11 license with multiple tenants hosting rights. So we're going to click on next. So looking at so make sure that networking is the same VNet as OpenVAS. So we're gonna come over here and just go straight to networking. So we can see our virtual network. So make sure it's here, OpenVAS VNet. And so everything looks okay. We're going to click on next. So you're going to leave everything the way it is. We're just going to click on create, review and create. So ignore whatever error you get. So we can see we have passed the validation test. We're going to click on create. So initializing deployment. Next, we are going to log into our client VM. We are going to disable the firewall, and we are going to download very old softwares to make our VM vulnerable, so we can be able to conduct unauthenticated scans and authenticated scans. So we'll get to this very soon. So we'll just wait for our VM to be completely deployed. All right, our deployment, our VM has completely been deployed. So what I'll do is come over here and just click on virtual machines. So we can see client VM Win10 vulnerable has been created successfully and it's running. So what I'll do is click on it, and I'll just wait for this page to populate. Okay, and I am going to copy the public IP address. So I'm waiting. So ignore this message here. So I'm just going to copy the public IP address, and if you're using a Mac OS, you might have to download the Microsoft Remote Desktop app. But if you're using a Windows OS, so just go over here and search for Remote Desktop connection. So I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to paste the IP address I copied. So I'm going to paste it here, and I'm going to click on show more options, and the username, remember our username is Azure user. I'm going to click on connect. It's going to ask for a password. So what you want to do is so I'm going to go over here and just copy the password, the marshmallow234 at. So I'm going to go over to our remote desktop and paste the password we copied. So you can see what's happening here is it's giving me, so I'm just gonna delete. Okay, so I'm just gonna check the box remember me and click on OK. I am gonna check the box don't ask me again for connections to this computer, and I'm gonna click on yes. Alright, so you see that I have been logged into my VM remotely. So we're just gonna wait because we have to do some configurations. Okay, so what I want to do here is click on accept. So you see that we have successfully accessed our VM remotely. I'm going to click on yes. So now we want to make our VM vulnerable. I'm going to come over here and click on wf.msc. wf.msc. I'm going to click on enter. Okay, so I am going to disable the firewall. Just wait a moment. I'm going to disable the firewall, so I'm going to click on this Windows Defender Firewall Properties. And for domain profile, you want to come down here where it says firewall state, select off. For private profile, you want to do the same thing, select off. And for public profile, you want to do the same thing, select off, click on apply and OK. So we can now close this. So if you're using Windows OS to minimize this, you can hover your mouse here and just click on minimize. So what we will do next is we are going to download old softwares. So what I'm going to do here is click here. I'm going to copy link. I'm going to go back to my VM and open up Edge browser. So I am going to select start without data, confirm and continue, continue without this data, and confirm and start browsing. Okay, so I am going to close these tabs because I don't need them. And what I'll do now is paste. I'm going to paste that link I copied, and I am going to download the softwares, and I will download and install the softwares. So you can see we are getting this prompt that we should turn on Windows Firewall. So just ignore this. So make sure it is your Windows virtual machine firewall that you disabled, not your main PC. Okay, I am going to download this one, the Firefox. So this is Adobe Reader, Firefox, and VLC. So I'm just waiting. It's really slow. I'm going to click on download anyway, and I'm going to download the VLC player. Okay, so I'm just waiting for it to give me the pop-up where I can click on download. Alright, so I'm going to click on download anyway. Okay, so I'm just waiting. Okay, so I am going to click on Open Downloads folder, and I'll start by installing the VLC player. So just double click, and I'm going to select OK, next, 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 and install. Alright, so I'm not going to run this. I'm going to deselect this and click on finish. I'm going to do the same thing for Firefox. I'm going to install Firefox. And click on next, next, install. Okay, so I don't want to launch Firefox. I'm going to click on finish, and lastly I'm going to install Adobe Reader. So it's extracting the installation files, so we just have to wait a little while. Okay, I'm going to click on install. Remember, we are trying to make our VM vulnerable, so that's why we installed old softwares, very old softwares, and opened up our firewalls. So I am going to minimize this. So next, we have installed our old softwares. We have disabled the Windows firewall. So we are going to leave our VM for now. So right now, we are going to go to the Greenbone website. So I'm going to try to refresh this, see if I'm still logged in. Okay, so I'm going to come back here and copy password marshmallow234 hash. So I'm going to copy and put in the username, which is admin, and our password. I'm going to click on enter. So what we will do now is we will log into OpenVAS and create a new host. So we would go over to assets, the tab assets, and click on host. So we want to come over here and click on new host. So for our host, we are going to go over to our VM and copy our private IP address. So this is our private IP address, so I'm going to copy it and paste it here. So make sure there's no space here, if not it's not going to work. And so we've done that. So we are going to call this, so we have created a new host, and for this host we are going to call it Win10 vulnerable VM. Okay, so I'm going to save this, and next we are going to create a new target from the host, name it Azure Vulnerable VMs. So I'm going to copy this, and to create a new target from the host, so we are going to click here and we're going to call this Azure Vulnerable VMs. And alright, so that's all we'll be doing here. We just created a new target. I'm going to come over here and just click on save. Alright, so next we will create a new task, and we are going to name and comment new task scan dash Azure Vulnerable VMs. So I'm going to copy this, and the scan target will be Azure Vulnerable VMs. So we're just going to go over here to where it says scans and click on task, and I'm going to come over here and select new task, and I'm going to name this, I'm going to paste scan Azure Vulnerable VMs, and I'm going to repeat that here. And for the scan targets, it's going to be Azure Vulnerable VMs. So we would come over here and save the new task we have just created. So we'll save it. Alright, so next we will start the scan. Okay, so we'll have to run this by clicking on the play icon. So this, what we are doing is an unauthenticated scan. So this type of scan is very shallow, it's not in-depth, because we haven't given our OpenVAS VM the full access to do a complete and thorough scan. So this is going to take a while, so you can take a break, you can go grab a cup of coffee or use the bathroom, whatever you want to do. it's going to take some time. We are back. This took a while. Okay, so it took longer than I expected. So we can see that our severity for this is medium. So this scan was not a credentialed scan. So what I'm going to do now is click on last reports, and I'm going to go over to results. So you can see the reports that we got here, DCERPC and MSRPC services enumeration reporting. So we don't see our software, so this vulnerability scan did not see the old applications. That's because this was not a credentialed scan. So we're going to go over to hosts, so you can see Windows 10 vulnerable. This is our virtual machine, the vulnerable virtual machine. You can see our ports, so there are no applications. So for operating system, you can see Microsoft Windows. This is the best it could, extract, because this wasn't a credentialed scan. CVEs, closed CVEs. So this video will take too long if I decide to explain these tabs in detail. You can go on Google and just search about what these different tabs stand for. So what we are going to do next is we are going to make configurations for credentialed scans. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the link for the checklist, so I would also be able to access it in the VM. So we have disabled our Windows firewall, so we will have to disable user control, account control. We are going to enable remote registry. And so I'm going to go over to the VM now and open our Edge browser, and I'm going to open a new tab and just paste that link here. Okay, so I am going to minimize this. Okay, so this is where we are. So we've disabled our Windows firewall. So we are going to go over here and type services.msc. okay, so it's showing already. So I'm going to come over here. Okay, so we want to enable our remote registry. So we're going to scroll. So you can double click on it, and we are going to select automatic, the startup type, and click on apply, and click on OK. So what we'll do here is just click on start, and we're going to close this. So next we are going to launch our registry. So just come over here and type regedit, and click on enter. So I am just going to move this here so we all see what I'm doing. I am also going to move this. All right, so I believe we can see what I'm doing here. So right now we are going to navigate to H key local machine. which is this one. I'm just going to click on the arrow, and we are going to go over to software, so which is this, and we're going to go to Microsoft here and Windows. So we're just going to scroll down. All right, so Windows and current version. Okay, and policies. Okay, and lastly, system key. So I'm just going to click on the folder. So what we want to do next is create a new double word. So I'm going to right click here and just click on new and click on this one, D word, 32-bit value. And for the value, we are going to name it local accounts token filter policy. So I'm gonna copy and I'm going to click on rename and just paste what I copied. And okay, so that's okay. So we want to set the value to 1, so I'm going to select 1 and click on OK. So I think everything looks all right. So everything looks okay. So what I'll do now is restart the VM. So you click on the start icon and click here and just click on restart. We've done that. So now we are going to make some configurations. We're going to make some configurations right here, so we can be able to perform a credential scan. So we are going to go to configuration, credentials, and new credential. So this is it. So we're going to go to credentials. So I am just going to log back into the portal. Marshmallow 234 hash and add. Okay, so I'm going to click on new credential. The name is going to be Azure VM's credential, so I'm going to copy this name. I am going to paste and paste, and allow insecure use. I'm going to select yes, and for the password, it's going to be for the username is going to be Azure user, and the password, our password. So I'm just going to go over here. Okay, so I'm just going to type that out manually. Marshmallow 234 hash at, and click on save. We have created one credential, and next we are going to clone. So we are going to go over here where it says here, we're going to go to targets, and we are going to clone this target. So I'm going to click on the ship icon where it says clone target, and we're going to edit this. So for this, the name is going to be Azure Vulnerable VMs dash credential scan. So I'm going to copy this name. Okay, we can see our private IP address. I'm going to paste this here and paste this, so ensure that your private IP address is correct. So for this, your SMB is going to be Azure VM credentials, and I'm going to click on OK. So we have created a new target, So we're going to go over here. We want to execute credential scan against our vulnerable VM. So we're going to go over to scans, task, and then we are going to clone the task. So we're going to go over to task, and I'm going to click on the ship icon here to clone this task, and I'm going to click on edit task. So for this one, you want to select this name here, scan Azure vulnerable VMs. So we're going to select this. Okay, so rather we'll select the second one, scan Azure vulnerable VMs credentialed, and we are going to target Azure vulnerable VMs credentialed scan. So what I'll do is paste what I copied, and I'm going to do the same thing here, and we want to select Azure vulnerable VMs credentialed scan. So you want to make sure you're selecting Azure vulnerable VMs credentialed scan. So just follow everything I'm doing here so that you don't have issues. Okay, so we are going to click on save. The next thing we'll do is run. So we are going to run this. So this is going to take longer than the uncredentialed scan we performed earlier. So this scan is going to take a longer time. So this is another time to take a break. I'm going to click on the play icon, take a break, do whatever you want to do now, So we are back, and as you can see, our credential scan is complete, and you can see that the severity is high, really high. So right now, compared to the previous scan, the uncredentialed scan we did previously, so I'm going to click here, and you can see we have way more results than what we had before. So I'm going to click on results, and now you can see that we have Adobe Reader, we have so VLC, we have Firefox, a lot of them. So you can also sort the severity here. Okay, so to view more, you can click here on this to remove the filter. So you can see we have way more results now, and you can click into it to see more details about the vulnerability. You can see more details about the vulnerability. So we can go to host, you can see our IP address, so you have 6 ports, and now we have way more results than we had when we did the uncredentialed scan. So you can see the applications here, the VLC, media player, Firefox, and you have OneDrive. So if we go over to operating system, you can see initially we just saw Windows, Microsoft Windows. Now we can see the version. So you can see it's Windows 10 Pro 22H2, and the severity is high. All right, so we just did a credentialed scan, and we got way more results. So what we are going to do next is I'm going to go over to our checklist. We are going to remediate the vulnerabilities that we discovered. So how are we going to do that? I'm going to go back to the VM. So we are going to log back into our Windows 10 vulnerable VM. We're going to uninstall the applications, the old applications that we installed, and we are going to run the scan again. So I am going to head back here. So I'm going to go to control panel. I'm just going to search for control panel. Okay, so I'm going to head to programs and features. So we are going to start by uninstalling the Adobe Reader. So I'm going to check this box and just click on yes. And we're going to do the same thing for Mozilla Firefox. And I'm going to click on next as well and click on uninstall. I'm just going to click on finish, and I'm going to do the same thing for VLC Media Player. Okay. Alright, so I am also going to go over to, I'm just going to search for recycle bin. I'm going to open it up to see if I have anything here. So there's nothing here. Okay, so what we'll do now is go back to OpenVAS, and I'm going to go to scans, tasks, and I am going to run a credential scan again to see if what the apps we uninstalled, helped in resolving or taking away the vulnerabilities we have with our VM. So I'm going to click on the play icon once again, and again it's time to take a break. It's going to take some time. Okay, so I'm just going to restart my VM. I'm just going to click on restart. All right. So we should have way less vulnerabilities than before, because we have uninstalled the old softwares that made our VM vulnerable. So we should have way less vulnerabilities on our VM. Okay guys, I am back. So you can see that this took a very long time to finish, and here we can see the severity levels, and we can see the trend, that this trend is pointing downward. It simply means that the vulnerability is actually reducing. So what I'm going to do now is click on last report, and you can see the results we have way less results. I'm going to click on the filter, so we don't see the applications that the old softwares we installed, Firefox, VLC Player, and the Adobe Reader. So we can still see Microsoft Defender anti-malware platform. So why we still have this is because our Defender, our firewall is still open. That's why we still have this here. So you can see okay, our IP address, our private IP, applications, operating system still showing, and then we have the CVEs. So what we did was that we uninstalled the old softwares, and we remediated the situation. So I'm going to go back to the Azure portal. In order for us to save some money, we are going to delete the VMs we created since we no longer need them. So I'm going to go over to resource groups and click on resource groups. And remember, the resource group we created for both VMs is the vulnerability management resource group. I'm going to click on it, and I am going to click on delete resource group. Okay, so it's going to further confirm the request or the action we want to take. I'm going to copy this and just paste it here and click on delete and delete. So this should just give it some time. We're going to go to virtual machines. So deleting resource group vulnerability management. So give it some time, let's say 5 to about 10 minutes. And if you come here and refresh this, you won't see OpenVAS and the Windows 10 vulnerable VM anymore. So thank you for your time. Thank you for watching this tutorial up to this point. God bless. Stay safe.